Hi, I want to prepare you for this next reading that you're going to encounter. So you are now, hopefully, while you're now watching this, what I'm going to need you to do is when you click on the next link, it's going to bring you to, slowly, but it's going to bring you to a screen that looks like this. Obviously, you can see one would need mighty powerful glasses to make sense of this. So what you'll need to do is to click on this document here, and then in my computer it goes down into the corner, and then I'm able to click on it. I cannot encourage you too much. You see up here they've got an icon to print. I cannot encourage you too much to print this out. The way that you understand will change dramatically. There is a lot of research that shows that all of us read differently when we read on a printed page versus reading on a screen. And the topic of this particular essay, I think, would have something to help us think about that. So please, this one especially, I'm going to encourage you to take a minute, go somewhere, print it out. You might have to go out of your way. Printing is free at the library. Maybe you are at home and have a printer hooked up. So I'm going to encourage you to do that. Let me just make a few comments about this reading. The title is The Judgment of Thamus, and it is a chapter from a book by Neil Postman. The title is Technopoly, The Surrender of Culture to Technology, book in 1992. So it is somewhat dated, okay? I just have a few comments that I want to give you, then I'm going to let you work through it. The first thing is you will need to work through it. This is not easy reading. You are in college, and so that may be no surprise to you that something is hard to do. I assign this essay at the beginning because it gives you some ways to think about most of what will come after. So when we encounter really any sort of cultural phenomenon, especially that has to do with technology, this essay gives us some things to think about. Now, he begins his essay with an example taken from Plato, as in the Greek philosopher. I'm going to encourage you to let the author explain to you what he is doing with that example. Okay? Just hang in. Read it again, and that is something else I'm going to say. In most cases, you will be sort of, I guess, required to reread most of what you read in this class, and that's just the nature of it. Any person, I do it. The stuff that we're reading is sometimes subtle, sometimes complex, but for a lot of reasons, the first time one reads it, one doesn't understand it all. So that is an expectation I want to put out there. So hang with this first sort of example and understand that he is using this as an example, as an introduction. He's talking about the, as it were, the onset of written language in culture and some questions that were raised about the risks that may have been associated with this onset of written language. In other words, a change from everything being spoken to being able to write things down. And you may not be used to thinking of writing as a technology. but the way he's using technology writing is one. So let the author tell you what he's up to with that example. Be patient, work through it, reread paragraphs as you need to. Now, he will get to talking about a couple of technologies that are very prominent in our culture. Television. He will also talk about computers. Now, he has some important points to make about technology, and I guess what I want you to let yourself consider is, what are his points about technology, and well, as you read, maybe hold this question up there. So, for instance, with television, is television a neutral technology? So many students who I have asked that, or when we have read about television, a lot of times a comment I get is that, well, television is not good or bad. In other words, it is neutral, right? It's all in how you use it. So what they mean is it's maybe all in what content you do actually watch. It's all in how much you use it, etc. What would Neil, after you've read this, what would Neil Postman respond to that? Would he believe that it's possible for any technology to be totally neutral? Or in fact, is something else the case? So I wanted to encourage you first to print this out so you can read it like a college student, carefully, slowly, annotating. I also wanted to encourage you to read it carefully, slowly, read it again as need be, and to be looking for these important points. All right, enjoy.